welcome from the Internet Reloaded Berlin 2018. I'm Christina from we.CONECT and we're here with Justine Stevenson from the London Stock Exchange Group. Justine, welcome to the conference.
Thank you.
Such an honour to have you here. As a start, do you mind just introducing yourself and tell us a bit more about your professional background?
I work for London Stock Exchange Group and I'm head of group internal communication there. I've been there for just over a year, so feel quite new still. But I've worked in internal communications now for probably around 20 years. In various organisations, I've worked for the British government, I've worked in financial services, I've worked in FMCG, all in the UK, but usually in large and global organisations.
What was the major changes you've seen in the past?
I think digitalisation is one of the biggest changes, and I think that's in life as well as in work. I think the access that people have to information, the speed with which we have to work, the responsiveness that people expect just because things are more immediate, much quicker, much closer. The world's much closer than it was when I started working.
You'll also be moderating a Work Cafe session tomorrow, and the topic you've chosen is multicultural and multi-generational communications. So why have you chosen that particular topic and why is it relevant to your job?
It's probably relevant to anybody who's working in any job like mine at the moment, but particularly as our companies do get more global and they do change and they bring in new generations of people into the workplace. Anybody who's not thinking about how to communicate across the generations, across different global locations, is probably not doing their job properly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really important, but I don't know the answers. Like I say, I've worked in internal communication for a long time, but as things have sped up and I've seen the way that people coming into the workplace now work, it's totally different. When I first started working, we didn't have email. I didn't have my own email account. We used to send telegrams to people. So within, what feels to me 20 years feels not that long. The world has just changed so completely. And particularly as we start to bring digital natives into the workplace, the whole idea that you wouldn't even have had an email is just nonsense. So for me, if I'm going to stay relevant, if I'm going to give the very best for my employees in my organisation, I need to know what they want, what's going to capture their imagination, what's going to engage them. And increasingly, like I say, as we become global, all of those elements of culture become more important. In life, in work, we need to know what makes others tick. What is it that is actually going to help them to communicate effectively with each other?
And when it comes to corporate or internal communication, do you think it's actually possible to employ like a one-size-fits-all approach, or what might be the challenges?
I don't think it is. Yeah. And I think that's why it's important to start having these conversations, because for a few years yet, we are still going to have people of my generation who are senior in organisations and are senior in running them. But the majority of our population are going to be younger than us and are going to want to work differently from us. So we might want to impose a one-size-fits-all communication strategy and communication channels that we're comfortable with, but that's not going to work for organisations. So we need to have a little think about what do we need to do to tailor the strategies that we have. We need to have a think about how far are we prepared to go to meet the needs of our audience. So not saying we just do whatever they want, but we do need to think about how we're going to tailor some of that.
And what insights are you actually hoping to get from the delegates tomorrow afternoon?
This is the benefit of having a conference where you've got so many people who have different experience. We've just had some great case studies of people who've implemented channels in vastly different organisations. We've got people of all ages, all levels of experience. So what I want to get from those people is how do you start thinking about this? What are the key questions that you need to ask? What is it that you need to pose to your organisation to get the best results?
Sounds quite challenging, definitely interesting, and I hope you get all the answers you're looking for.
So do I.
But for now, thank you so much for participating in that interview. It's much appreciated.
No problem.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much.